Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing both my January and February reading wrap up. I got a little burnt out at the end of last month, so you're gonna see me in different outfits because I did film it. I just didn't get around to editing it. So this will be a combination of January and February. I will be splitting this video into like mysteries and thrillers, different genres, so you can hop around if you're more interested in one over the other. So forgive the outfit changes, but let's hop in, starting with mysteries. Okay, so by far one of the best mysteries I read this month was Public Anchovy #1 by Mindy Quigley. This is the third in the deep dish pizza mystery series. Takes place in Wisconsin. I love this so much. So I did do a cozy winter reading vlog featuring this and some of the other cozies I'll be talking about. I'll link it above if you haven't watched it. I'll go more in depth in there. So basically the premise for this is that we have Delilah O'Leary. She has her deep dish pizzeria in Wisconsin, and her employees are catering this really big party at this mansion, and they all get snowed in and a murder happens. I love it. Like, I love a good locked room mystery. This was superb. This kept me guessing to the end. I did not see the ending coming. The food descriptions were mouthwatering. The characters are amazing. I actually really like the romantic pairing in this, which is pretty unusual for me. I'm not really big on romance usually in my books, but I actually really enjoy the romance that seems to be kind of building up in this series. I think it's really cute. And then you have Butterball the cat here. I love Butterball. Butterball is an exceptional cozy mystery sidekick character. I love that cat. I love that cat. So this was 5 stars. I highly recommend the entire series. I'm caught up on it now and it's been incredible. I finally got around to reading this and I'm so excited. It's Death by Darjeeling by Laura Child. This is the first book in the tea shop mystery series, and our main character in this is Theodosia, and she runs a tea shop and she's pretty well established. It's not like one of those cozies where the main character is like starting off. She seems like the tea shop's been established for a while. Basically she's hosting this historic garden party event, and then one of the people dies with her tea in her hand, and she and some of her employees are suspects along with other people in the town. Theodosia is an amazing character. I absolutely love her. She is very, very smart. She's very clever. She's very well spoken. She is really, really amazing. I absolutely love her as a character. The tea references, amazing. I love tea. I drink so many different types of tea, so this was absolutely a perfect theme for me. I love it and I highly recommend it. This was a great mystery. I did put it together towards the end, but I thought it was really well done. I loved Theodosia. I love her sommelier, Drayton. I think he is really cool, a very formal character, a very things need to be done a certain way kind of character, but I really liked him. I thought he was a good foil to her sometimes, and I really enjoyed this mystery. So I'm so looking forward to it. I did pick up book 2 at the same time as this one during the library book sale. I'll link it above if you want to check it out. And I'm so excited I did because I really thought I would love this, and I was right, and I can't wait. I read this one and I love the theme for this. I don't know if there's any other cozies with this theme. There's gotta be, but I haven't seen any. And this is Last Pen Standing, a stationery shop mystery by Vivian Conroy. And this was on my series I want to start list for last year. I just got to it at the beginning of this year, but close enough, close enough. I love it. So Delta has moved back to this small town, and she is working with her friend who owns the stationery shop. She's going to revamp things. She's kind of an artist. She wants to design some things for the store, like different greeting card designs, stuff like that, journals, pens, all of that good stuff. Oh, I love it. Basically they're hosting this like crafting workshop at this like swanky hotel, and there's also a party going on simultaneously, and one of the hotel guests ends up dead. So Delta gets involved. I really liked this. I feel like the mystery was solid. It wasn't like an all-time favorite or anything, but the theme for this and the fact that the German Shepherd is called Spud, extra points for that. But this was perfectly cozy, a 3.5 star read for me. Really good. I definitely want to read more in this series. I think there's only 3. It doesn't look like it's a continuing series, but I think there's only 3 out, but I definitely want to read the other ones because I really enjoyed this. I think the theme is so fun. It's so fun. And it takes place in Tundish, Montana, so you have kind of a bit of a western flair with it. Like, you can see the tumbleweeds here on the cover. I really liked it. I thought it was fun. I would recommend this if you're looking for kind of a unique cozy mystery theme. I thought this was really fun, and I love stationery, so it was right up my alley. Murder and Maman by Mia P. Manansala. This is the 4th book in the Tita Rossi's Kitchen Mystery series. It features our main character Layla, and she is incredible. I love her. So her aunt, her Tita Rossi, runs this kitchen, but a restaurant, a Filipino restaurant. Her family is very involved. It's a very family-driven, cozy mystery, which I love. And Leela and her best friend and her best friend's girlfriend run a cafe called the Bruja Cafe, which I think that's so clever. It's so fun. And in this particular one, some of her godmothers are opening up a laundromat when the day like before the actual grand opening, a body is found in the laundromat, and so Leela gets involved, especially as one of her godmothers. Like, a lot of rumors are going around town, and unfortunately her godmothers have a bit of a reputation for poking their noses into other people's business. They're not really liking it now that the town is poking their noses back into their business. So Leela gets involved to solve the mystery, and it was a very good mystery. I thought I knew who did it, and then right at like last minute it like pulled it out from me, and I was like, oh. So it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Delicious food references in this book. I really need to get some Filipino food. I need to find somewhere that I don't know anywhere that makes it, so I really need to get on that. Another absolutely 5-star read. Case of the Blues by Karina Moss, a Cheese Shop mystery series. So now I'm caught up on the series. I think this is book 4 in the series, and it involves a scavenger hunt for a very well-loved, like award-winning blue cheese recipe. So Willa lives in Sonoma. She has a Sonoma Valley cheese shop. It's French inspired. I love her and her employees. They are so amazing, so heartwarming. Like, Archie is the sweet, like, kind of college guy who's working there who might be a cheesemonger. And then you have Miss Schultz, who is a retired teacher who works there as well, and she is epic. I love her. I love her so much. But anyways, well, there's a great cast of characters. The cheese details are incredible. I love cheese so much. And in this one, her old mentor ends up dying, and he is going to leave behind like a clue in his will about who that can lead someone to finding this like cheese recipe. And it's so good. I don't want to give anything else away. I highly recommend this series. It's delightful. It's so cozy. It's so heartwarming. I absolutely love it. And how good does that charcuterie board look? And the ending for this and the conclusion to the scavenger hunt, I love it. I loved it so much. I was like, yes, absolutely. I love it. That was very clever. I really liked it. So very much recommend this. A book I wanted to love so much. I can't even express how much I wanted to love this. This was on my 2023 like book series I want to start. I'll link it above because I'll link both 2023 and 2024. I did videos where it was like 15 cozy mystery series I want to start, and this was on my 2023 list, and so I did technically start it in 2024, but you know, close enough. But I didn't love it, and I'm so disappointed. That's Hollywood Homicide by Kelly Garrett. I really thought I would love this. Our main character in this is Dana Anderson, and she is a sort of celebrity. She's like, I don't know, they have like C-list celebrities or something. But she basically she starred in like a really famous commercial, so a lot of people recognize her, but she doesn't have any money. She's broke. She's really down on her luck. She's got 2 roommates, and she finds out that her parents are gonna lose their home, and she wants to be able to help them financially. Well, she ends up trying to solve this mystery, sort of. We'll get to that. Trying to solve this mystery because she witnessed a hit and run, and there's a reward if somebody comes forward with information that can solve the hit and run case. So she tries to get involved with this, but what I disliked about this was that it felt like the mystery just really wasn't there. Like, I ended up DNFing this. I got about halfway through, so like about 160 pages out of 300 pages. So I read a fair amount of this book. I felt like where the mystery should have started. And Dana just kind of, like, it took her almost all of that time to decide to solve this mystery. So to me, that's, for a mystery novel, it doesn't really feel like the mystery is that present. I found both of her roommates to be very irritating, and I just didn't really care for her either. I don't know, she just made some like weird comments about people. I just didn't love her. I wanted to. I really loved the concept for this. I thought the concept of like a Hollywood actress who's kind of like down on her luck, who's just trying to make ends meet, who's now trying to help her parents, I thought it was such a good concept, but I just didn't love the humor for this. It just wasn't my preference. I don't think there's anything wrong with the book by any means. I just didn't care for it, and I just wish the mystery had started a little bit earlier. I don't know. I really wanted to like this. But Trimmed to Death by Nancy J. Cohen. This is part of the Bad Hair Day mystery series. This is like book 14 or 15. I've read most of the books in the series, and I really love them. Our main character is Marla. She lives in Florida. She is a hairdresser and hair salon owner. And in this one, we have a baking competition at a local farm, and during the competition someone's body is found dead and Marla gets involved. I really like this. However, I kind of miss Marla's sleuthing days where it was more her and less her husband, because her husband is a detective. So I kind of miss the days where they were still dating and she was more off on her own a little bit more, but it was still a really solid read. I just love Marla as a character. I feel like you always learn something very interesting in Nancy J. Cohen's books. She always has something really unique that you end up learning a lot about. Like, she really puts her research in, and it's outside of just the hairdressing like theme. So in this one there was stuff about like olive oil importing and stuff like that, which was really interesting, really strange. So I really found that to be unique. I know in other ones I've learned about like mining, I've learned about pipes and stuff like that. You always learn some really strange, like eclectic stuff, but it's really well done and always interesting. So I really like that about her writing. Another one that I'm really excited to say went very well, and you guys were right. You guys were right. I read the first book in the series and I didn't love it. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't love it as much as I thought I would, and I was pretty disappointed. But book 2 for the Sloane Cross mystery series, this is the Pint of No Return. So she is a brewer in this very like Bavarian kind of esque town in Oregon, and I love Sloane. Her and her family are so great. I love her. The mystery for this kicked it up a notch. It was way more engaging in my opinion, and I thought Sloane was much more of an active sleuth, because that was my main criticism for the first book, was it felt like Sloane was just kind of there and the mystery just kind of unfolded and solved itself like in her lap. It didn't feel like as active, and I really wanted to see her like sleuthing and like actively going out there to solve the mystery, and I thought this one did such a good job. I'm so interested in the family dynamics, because in the first book, this is part of the synopsis, so no spoiler, but she finds her husband having relations with a barmaid, and obviously she's very upset. She storms off and she ends up getting a job at a different brewer, like a microbrewery in town. And she also has a son, which I think is nice. I'm really enjoying cozies with moms, especially moms of like older kids. Like her son is, I think he's supposed to be like 14, 13, like he's like a young teenager, and I really enjoy his character and I like the relationship. And the ending for this, my heart was racing. I was like screaming at Sloane. I was like, no, 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 no. Like, so you know it's a good mystery ending when you're just sitting there like you're like, no, 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 like you need to like get out, do something. So I love this. I'm so excited to read the next book in the series. I'm not somebody who's super fascinated with brewing, just because I don't personally drink, so it's not like particularly interesting to me, but I do find it interesting learning about the ways that things are brewed and the combinations for like flavors. Like it puts it in a new perspective for me, so I found that to be enjoyable. I like her and Garrett. Garrett is the man who owns the microbrewery that she's working at. I think they are a cool tag team. I like the relationship, and I'm just excited to see where the series goes. So thank you guys for really being like, no, you have to read book 2, it gets better. Thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, and then I have a couple more that I read from my library that I've already returned, and that is Silenced in Sequence by Deborah Sunfielder. This is part of this like boutique mystery series that she writes, and I adored this. I loved the first book, Murder Wears a Little Black Dress. I thought it was so brilliant and took place during Halloween, and this one, The Silence in Sequence, actually takes place during Christmas and up to New Year's. So I read it for a reading vlog. I'll link it above if you want to check it out, because I thought it'd be perfect for this time of year, and it was so perfect. I am enjoying the series so much. I love reading about the boutique. I love reading about the changes they're making to the boutique. I love the fashion details. So much fun, but the mysteries are surprisingly like very layered, very good. This one completely fooled me. I had no idea. I think I called it in the first book, but it was still like I felt like it took some thinking to get there, so I was like really happy with the mystery. But this one completely, floored me. I had no clue when I got there. The reveal was shocking. I love this series. I'm enjoying it so much. I cannot wait to read more. There was one with a beachy cover with like a swimsuit that I think will be so fun for summer. But it's just so much fun. And there's a dorky cat too. So I mean, what else do I need from a cozy? Cute fashion, fun characters. There's some really interesting side stories with this about our main character. She's like trying to rebuild a relationship with her sister and like her best friend because there was some things in the past that happened, and I'm really enjoying that side story. She also writes blog posts or like articles for this like online fashion blog, which I really like as a freelance writer myself, so I think that's really fun little detail. I just love the detail. It's so good. And her stories, the mysteries are usually like 250-ish pages, so they're on the shorter side, but she packs in so much detail. Like, it's really amazing. I absolutely recommend it. The other one I read and loved was Sugar Plum Poisoned by Jen McKinley. Again, this is one of the series that got me into cozy mysteries, and that is the Cupcake Bakery Mystery series. I have now read every book in that series, and I have never had like less than a 4-star read from that. I can't think of one. I've loved everything, and there's over 15 in the series. Sugar Plum Poison involves our gals Mel and Angie. Mel, we're reading from her perspective, but they're best friends. They run Fairy Tale Cupcakes together in Scottsdale, Arizona, which is kind of a fun setting because a lot of cozies, I feel like they take place on the coasts, especially like the Northeast or like the Northwest, at least a lot of the cozies I read. So it's kind of fun to have one from the Southwest, and I just love it. And this one, she used to be like on the road with like a band for a little bit, and a friend of hers, Shelby, who is a singer, comes back, and she's actually doing a big Christmas show and performing, and she wants Mel and Angie to cater with cupcakes. Lots of amazing sugar plum like cupcakes and all that, but someone of course ends up dying. Drama ensues. I love it. And there's also a wonderful side plot if you're not tired of Christmas yet, because it is Christmas cozy, but there's a wonderful side plot with Mel hosting Christmas for the first time and just being like overwhelmed, like a lot of the overwhelm that we feel around the holidays. So it's very relatable. I just love this series so much. Like, it's always gonna have a special place in my heart, and this was an amazing addition. So definitely that was a 5-star read. Absolutely love it. And then the latest one that I just finished was Thread on Arrival, a mainly needlepoint mystery by Leah Waite. This is like book 5 in this series. I hopped in, I picked this up at the library book sale just because it looked so cute and like perfect. I put this in my cozy winter reading vlog because the cover it screams winter. It actually takes place in March, which was fun because I just wrapped it up. So our main character in this is Angie, and she gets involved with a mystery when this local man around town, his name is Ike, and he's been down his luck. He's a little bit unusual. People have tried to run him out of town, unfortunately, because he's a little bit different, but he supports himself by collecting bottles and getting like the refund deposits on them. And lately he's had this young boy with him named Leo. And unfortunately, one morning Ike's body is found like murdered. And Leo is the suspect because he was the one with him. He's got kind of a shady past, and Angie gets involved along with some of her friends to help Leo out, give him like a better start because he's just like, you know, he's like a young like teen, right? And just to help him, because obviously that's a horrifying thing for him to have encountered. And it's such a good mystery. There was a lot of depth to it. There was a lot of like heartwarming moments. There was a lot of characters to root for in this. I am definitely gonna go back and read the other books in the series. I don't know how many are out, but I am very much captivated by this series now. And all the cat references were really cute. There's Trixie here, and then the other cat I believe is her Grams cat. So I love that. And her Grams is awesome. So next category, I just have one in, and that's a cozy fantasy, and this is actually Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. This is the second in the Legends and Lattes series, and it was as good as Legends and Lattes, guys. The more I think about it, the more I love it. I read it in the vlog as well that's linked above if you want to check it out, but we have Viv again. She's an orc, and this is during her battle days because this is a prequel to Legend and Lattes, and she is injured very badly. Like, her leg is like sliced open. She's dropped off at the seaside cozy town to recuperate, and she is very upset about being left behind. She hates the slow life. She's just not having a good time resting up. I mean, no one's gonna have a good time with their leg, you know, hurting like that, of course, but she's not having a good time at all. She's really having a bad time of it, but she ends up getting into a bookshop there, and the bookshop is so cozy, but it's falling apart, and so she helps, like, develops friendships. She starts to help there. There's a really great like fantasy plot to this too that I didn't expect. It was a little more developed, I think, than Legends and Lattes, so I really enjoyed that. I thought it was fun. It was so cozy. It was so heartwarming. The ending for this, Definitely read Legends and Lattes first if you haven't already, but the ending for this, like the way it was connected to Legends and Lattes was so well done. I was really wondering how he was going to do that, because in this book we know she's recovering from her injury, but she's presumably going to go back on the road, and it's like in Legends and Lattes she's settling down, opening a coffee shop, so it's like, well, where, you know, what's the disconnect here? So I really enjoyed how he wrapped it up. Oh, so good. Alright, thrillers. There are some doozies in here. So we're gonna start with the book of the month pick that I had for January, and that is First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. This was part of my most anticipated thriller releases for the first part of 2024. One, how fun is I love this lime green. It's so beautiful. It's so stunning. And I feel like the less you know going into this, the better. But the general premise, First Lie Wins, is we have Evie Porter, and she is a lovely Southern girl. She's got a lovely Southern boyfriend. She's moving in with him. She's got a job. She's got what most gals want in life, right? Except her real name isn't Evie Porter. And she's got weird assignments from this mysterious boss named Mr. Smith. And that's all I'm leaving you with. Like I said, the less you know, the better. There were so many fun twists and turns for this. I love this. The writing style was very fast paced. You're immediately sucked in within a few chapters. Like, the plot definitely starts quickly. It's not a slow burn. I really enjoyed the writing style. Had a fun time with this. Was shocked by certain parts, called other parts, but it was just such a solid read. I'd say like a really strong, like 4.5 stars. I flew through this. Like, I practically inhaled it. What I cannot recommend. This one, I cannot. So I picked this up after hearing another YouTuber talk about it, and they weren't like a huge fan of it, but they seemed to like it enough, and the tropes really interested me. So I picked it up. I was like, okay, let's try it. It sounds cool. This is called The Fiction Writer by Julian Cantor, and I've never heard of this author before. So several tropes I like about this. One, our main character's a writer. I'm a sucker for a writer, okay? Like, we've established I love bookish anything. So our main character, Olivia Fitzgerald, is a writer. But her latest novel, which was based on Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca, which is one of my favorite classic novels of all time. So again, another thing that really like sucked me into this. Unfortunately, it didn't do very well. Like, it's really not doing well. She's behind on her third novel she's supposed to be writing. It's not going well. Things aren't going well. But then she gets this mysterious and fabulous invitation. Okay, so we got my attention here, and she has to sign like an NDA and everything. Like, it's very mysterious, and she's going to be writing a book for Ash, who is voted the world's like sexiest man alive. Like, he's a celebrity actor, you know, one of those people. And he has this fabulous like house on the beach side, and she's gonna be flown out there, like all expenses paid a lot of money, which she really needs. All great things. And then of course things start to happen. This guy is kind of mysterious. She's kind of confused about what she's writing. There seems to be a lot of overlap between the past at this guy's like family home and the story of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Lots of things I love. I could not stand Olivia. I read this like several weeks ago and I'm still upset. That should tell you. One, she's horribly unprofessional. I mean, I'm not expecting this to be like, it's a thriller. I don't expect it to be like super like hyper realistic, but not even enough to suspend disbelief. Two, it kind of read as a romance because she's falling for him, and we get it. Okay. We know from the synopsis and all this, we know this guy is supposed to be incredibly attractive. He's a celebrity. He's magnetic. He's got money, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. Like, fabulous, right? If you took a shot for every time his blue eyes, his, not just blue eyes, his fabulously blue eyes, his bluer than blue, unreal, is he wearing contacts level blue eyes. I'm not even kidding. The contact part was actually somewhere in this book. You would be so drunk. Like, you'd be dead. It was incredible. Blue eyes are great, okay? Like, blue eyes are fine. I like beautiful eyes too. Beautiful eyes are great. But man, how many times his eyes alone were mentioned, not to mention his like rippling muscles and like this and that, and I'm just sitting there like, when is the thriller part gonna happen? So I ended up DNFing about halfway through. There were some interesting things coming up. I kind of skimmed to the end, and then I sat there and was like, I'm really glad I didn't read this because this is just like, okay. Also, so the main character was like suffering from like really dumb main character syndrome where it was like, we know you're desperate, girl. We know you need the money, but you're ignoring so many red flags about so many things that you could not, like, come on. I understand a character needs to sometimes ignore a red flag here and there, but this was like piles of red flags. I was like, come on. I'm supposed to be rooting for you, but you are not, no. There's like not an ounce of intelligence or intuition or anything happening here, just blue eyes. Anyways, thank you for listening to my rant. Her Perfect Life by Hank Philippi Ryan. So I have not read this author before. This was one I randomly picked up at my library book sale. It just really caught my attention. I mean, honestly, the woman on the cover is just really beautiful, so caught my attention. But I loved the idea for this. So when I read the synopsis, I was like, ooh, this sounds perfect. So basic premise is we have Lily Atwood on our cover here. She is a famous like celebrity journalist, which maybe I just don't pay enough attention to this like niche, but I guess I'm not really familiar with too many celebrity journalists, but she is famous and she has a source who tells her all of these interesting things and helps her get some of her best stories. Well, one day the source starts to feed her information about herself that nobody else should know. And she's got a secret past with a sister who went missing in like her at 18 in college. And she also has a young 7-year-old daughter who is really adorable, by the way. I loved her daughter. Her daughter was darling. And lots of great things. Great established plot. The first 100 pages or so I loved. The middle of this was so sluggish and felt very, very repetitive. Like I felt like we would establish something and then we'd go over it again. Or we'd have another scene that wasn't really necessary that kind of established the same thing that was established before. And then you're reading some flashbacks because you're going back to when her sister was still alive and you're reading from the sister's perspective, which I found very interesting overall. But the conclusion for this, I'm going to try to be as kind of generic as possible because I don't want to spoil anything. It didn't make sense. It really didn't make sense. I was sitting there like, this does not make a whit of sense. I mean, you cannot convince, I couldn't, it was too unbelievable for me, several aspects of it. And yeah, I'm trying to like share some more details without going into it too much, but just what happened to her sister, the reasoning behind her sister's disappearance. I was like, really? Well, I don't know about that. And then her daughter's like father is kind of, you know, he doesn't get to see his daughter, and there's just something at the end where I was just like, what? It just felt, I couldn't stomach it. I couldn't stomach it. So my main complaint here is that great premise. I liked Lily as a character. I thought she was pretty good. I liked her daughter. I didn't like her assistant, who we were also reading from their perspective. I found her very irritating. So that didn't help. But then the middle just really got sluggish and repetitive. I felt like some of it could have been cut and it would have made for a faster, more compelling thriller with the pacing. And then the ending was just like, really? It was like, no, that doesn't make sense on like several levels for like both the main plot and some subplots. I was like, that doesn't make sense. So one that I did really love was Lisa Jewell's The Family Upstairs. And I just learned today that there's actually a part 2. There's a book 2 in the series, which is unique because I don't know many thrillers that are series except for the Rachel Crawl series by Megan Golden that I really enjoy. I don't think I've read any other thriller series, so I'm really interested. I want to check out book 2. Let me know if you've read it. This was fascinating. So basically our main character, Libby, she turns 25 and she's been waiting for this day because she knows she's going to find out more about her birth parents. So she's been waiting for this letter for a long time. She rips it open. She wants to find out who her birth parents are, and she discovers that she is the sole inheritor to this huge estate. So she is now like fabulously wealthy and confused. And basically she goes to visit the place and she learns about some dark history from this estate and the 3 families that were entangled in this dark web of secrets. And wow, this will have you on the edge of your seat. I was fully gripped. This was fascinating and horrifying on so many levels, but definitely a really good thriller. I really enjoyed this. Lisa Jewell so far has been a knockout for me. I haven't had anything that I haven't enjoyed by her yet, so she's been a very consistent thriller writer for me, and this was no different. I love it, and I love the cover. I mean, it's so simple, but it's beautiful. I really, really enjoy that. Okay, let's go ahead and knock out one of the letdowns. This is the first book of the month book that I have not finished and not enjoyed. And I've been subscribed since like September, I want to say. So far I've been having knockout thriller hits from them. I really didn't like this. So the basic premise of this is Cass is an American, and like a lot of people there who call themselves part of the Permanents, she is somebody who has left her home country, has kind of a shady history for one reason or another, or something she's escaping from, and is settled here in Thailand. So it's a resort town, so a lot of tourists come in and out of the area, and she's actually part of like a scuba diving course instructor, so a very interesting career. And basically one of the dives they find a body, but this isn't the first time something bad has happened in the area and that someone's ended up dead. Now we're reading from Cass's perspective, and then we end up reading from this other person's perspective who is an influencer, and man, does this woman irritate me. I could not stand her perspective. It really was grating. It was really annoying. It was very much like all the bad personified traits of an influencer in like one person, which is a little unfortunate. And then Cass herself, I just found her to be very bland. I don't know. And there were just times where she has like a fiance, and she just wouldn't ask him a simple question. Like she'd find something that would like maybe suggest he was doing something dark, but instead of just being like, hey, like I found this, like is everything okay? Like you would hope you would with your fiance, she like goes off and I'm like, what are you doing? I don't know. And I don't know. I got to I was about halfway through when I gave up. I just was so uninterested in the plot. I felt like nothing was really moving forward. I wasn't that interested in any of the characters, not even in a like I hate this character so much, but I like love to kind of hate watch or hate read about them. It was just boring. So unfortunately, this one was a dud. Then I read Two Sherry Lapinas with mixed results, we'll say. I have The End of Her and Someone We Know. So I really, really loved the other two Sherry Lapinas I've read. Someone We Know was good. I liked this one. This was 4 stars. Basically, we have like kind of a suburban drama thriller. And so this teenager has been sneaking into computers, learning some of the secrets of the neighborhood and that they're not so squeaky clean, as every good suburban drama is. And then some anonymous letters are circling. There's a lot of intrigue with this. I really had a hard time putting it down. I really enjoyed this one. The other one though was more of a letdown. And the sad part about The End of Her is that I think I was actually more on the edge of my seat with this for like the first half of the book, and then it just kind of fell apart at the end. So I actually think I loved Someone We Know. I think overall it's a more consistent put together story, and I really enjoyed it. But this one actually like appealed to me more, and I think it should have been like, if it had ended differently, it would have been like a knockout 5 stars maybe, but it didn't. So this one is like a 3 stars. I don't know, the more I think about it, the more I get annoyed, but it's like a 2.5 to 3 stars. Like I wouldn't, if it interests you, try it. You might like the ending, maybe it was just not for me. And like I said, the first half of the book was so engaging and interesting. But basically we have Stephanie and Patrick. They are new parents to twins. And they're having a hard time because their twins have colic, and I do not have kids. I've never been around kids with colic, and I just want to say now, if your kids had colic, bless you, because I don't know how you would get, like, reading Stephanie's perspective here as she's trying to get through these days with her colicky twins, I'm like, I couldn't do it. I don't think I could do it. I think I would go out of my mind. So thank you to all the amazing parents out there, because wow. So anyways, they have these twin girls. They are having a rough time. They have bad colic. They have 2 for the price of 1. You know, a lot going on there. Patrick's struggling with work. He's like an architect, and it's very detailed work, and he's extremely sleep deprived, so it's not going great there. And then this woman from Patrick's past comes back. Her name is Erica, and she claims that Patrick killed his first wife. Okay, we got some confusion there. Now Stephanie knew that his first wife had died in like a car accident, but she didn't know anything like beyond that. So she is suddenly very concerned, and Erica starts to make more and more sense, but she's also a very twisted, manipulative person. And Erica as a character is absolutely fascinating. I thought Erica was very interesting. Patrick and Stephanie, a little more bland. I don't want to give anything away, but for me, basically the ending for this, one of the characters, it just felt very out of nowhere. I didn't really understand. I was like, what? I don't know. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, and then the very last page, that just got me even more annoyed. So that was kind of my thoughts on this. I really enjoyed most of the reading experience. I just really didn't like the ending. That was kind of my thoughts on this. Now this is probably my favorite read for thrillers this month besides The Family Upstairs, and that is The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. I really, really loved this. We have a couple, Cam and Jules, and basically Cam apparently is like fabulously wealthy. So his mom was the heiress, Ruby, and she was fabulously wealthy. I mean, like insanely wealthy, and she left her son a ton of money. But the thing is he didn't want it. He rejected it because of all the family strings and stuff that came along with it. So he moved away. He fell in love with Jules. They've been married for like 10 years, but he is now being forced to come back to the estate. And this time he's taking Jules, who's never been exposed to this part of his life before because, you know, he's just always like been like, no, I don't want to talk about it. Like, it's not good. Like, no, I don't want nothing to do with it. So she's very intrigued by all of this. We get to meet some of his family members. Oh, it is so good. It was great. It was a really fun, fast-paced, bingeable, like don't think too hard, but just have a fun time kind of thriller, and I am absolutely here for it. And Ruby is a fascinating character. So you're reading from multiple perspectives during this, and you're also reading some letters from Ruby from the past, which might have been my favorite part actually, because her writing style was like, it was enchanting, it was elegant, I loved it. So I really recommend this. It was a fun, like rich people drama, crazy family secrets, that sort of thriller, and I had such a good time with it. A book I loved though, and this author is quickly becoming a favorite apparently, and that is Lisa Jewell's The Night She Disappeared. I had some of you actually recommend this to me because I really enjoyed a different Lisa Jewell book. This was good. I really love this. I flew through this. The concept for this is that we have this very young couple who are like 19 and they've become parents, and you know, it wasn't quite planned, but they love their kid. Okay, they love their kid. And then one night they go out for like a big date, and her mother is watching their child while they go out on their date night, and both of them disappear, never to be seen again. And some people suggest, well, they were so young, maybe they ran away, they didn't want to be parents, you know, but her mom knows there's no way. She adored her baby. She would not leave her baby like that. So she is trying to figure out what happened to her daughter. And you're also reading from this writer. Obviously I have a type here. This writer who's recently moved to the area, and she finds a sign in like the yard near her. There's like a foresty area. And it says, it's like a sign that's like taped to a post, and it says dig here with like a arrow pointing at the ground. That alone sold me. That was such a great inclusion. I loved this. I thought this was great. I loved the ending for it. It was so satisfying on so many levels. Definitely some dark points with this. Like I would say with any thrillers, you might want to look up trigger warnings if you have anything in particular you're sensitive reading about. But overall, I loved this. The writing was so just fast-paced. I really connected with the characters. I was very interested in all the perspectives we read from, which I think is a really good mark for a great book, in my opinion. Like when you're not just reading it to learn what happens to like one character or to see their perspective, you're reading it because you're so entertained by all of them and interested in what happens to all of them. I found that so interesting. Really liked the ending for this, so that was a win. This next one, I wanted to scream multiple times doing this, and not because I was terrified, but because I was mortified. And that is The Teacher by Freida McFadden. So this is her newest release. I was super excited to get this. I had it like on hold with my library. I got it. I was so excited. I find her thrillers, I've read I think one before, The Coworker. I liked it. I think it was like a solid 3.5 to 4 stars for me. I thought the characters were interesting. I don't think her writing is necessarily the most unique out there or anything like that. I think she just knows how to take popular tropes, recycle them into her own work and then makes it very bingeable. She's like a very fast paced, like you can't put it down, ends on cliffhangers kind of writing style, which I think is good, especially if you're in a reading slump. This book, however, I have so many bones to pick with this book. I don't even know where to start. So we have our main character Eve, and she has a pretty good life. Every day she gets up and she goes to work. She gets a kiss from her husband. She goes to work. She's a teacher. Great. So everything is going okay, but she is returning to a new school year, and she is conflicted when she realizes that the student named Addie is in her class this year, and Addie had some rumors and allegations surrounding her about being involved with a teacher the previous year. Like, involved, and that teacher is no longer there. This was like a hot mess. Honestly, I think this was all over the place. I did finish it, which I kind of regret. I don't regret it because there was definitely some interesting twists and turns. I did not call the very last twist. If you've read this, let me know what your thoughts were on that, because I was sitting there like, come on, no, like don't do this. So that was kind of my reaction to the last twist. But some of the other twists and turns of this plot line were interesting, but mostly this book just made me feel very sad. I do have a couple more books for thrillers that I did turn back into my library. One was The Night of the Storm by Nishida Parekh, and basically we have this Indian American family, and one of them is a single mother. Her son's like 12, like early teens, and he's been getting into trouble with his school. He's been having a lot of hard times because of the divorce that she's going through, just a lot of fallout from that, and there's a hurricane that's hitting Texas, and so she is forced to, with her son, evacuate the apartment they live in. Well, she decides to go to her sister, who has this beautiful home. It's on the cover, as you can see, and they're gonna wait it out there with some of the other family members. However, she's not super excited about this because one, her sister, her husband is handsy. He's not a great guy. So she's not excited about that. There's a lot of family drama. This is definitely more of a suspense-filled drama. It does turn more into a thriller in like the latter half, but it's more of a slow burn. I liked it. I'd say like a 3.5 stars for me. I believe this was a debut author. I think it was a really solid debut. I really enjoyed our main character, Gia. I thought she had a lot of interesting things that she was going through. There's a bit of a stalker element. There's a lot of intrigue. I was really interested in the family dynamics, and the pressure and stuff in the story just keeps rising naturally because the weather outside continues to get worse and worse with the hurricane. Things are flooding. Like, it's very high stakes in terms of like the natural disaster element as well. So I really enjoyed this overall. I thought it was a good read. All-time favorite? No, but a strong thriller? Yes. The next one I read was more of a disappointment, and that was The Fury by Alex Michaelides. So I read The Silent Patient and I DNF'd it about halfway through because I could not stand the main character. He had the most like superior attitude ever, which seems to be a little bit of a theme in his books. There's always one character who's especially arrogant like that, and I also really didn't like the way it portrayed the like mental institute they were at and stuff. It was hard to read. But The Maidens I really did enjoy, which I think is a little bit of a flipped opinion on a lot of people, but I really liked The Maidens. So I was excited to see The Fury come out. It takes place on a Greek island. There's like an actress, and this is her like exclusive island that like one of her husbands had bought her, and she invites some friends out there, and things take a turn for the worse. I don't really want to get into details because it's really one that you want to go into with as little knowledge as possible, I think. I just thought it got too ridiculous. I don't know. I was intrigued. I read the whole thing. I thought some of the characters were fascinating, but then other ones really rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know. I'm like all over the place with this. I think I gave like 2 stars on Goodreads. I really wasn't that impressed, and a lot of parts of it dragged, and then there was like a writer character who really annoyed me, like beyond, like he just really, really got on my nerves. The last one for February was The Search Party. I loved this. This was a really strong thriller for me. Basically, we are going back and forth, present and past timeline. This group of friends are coming out to their other friends' like new business venture, which is like a glamping, like a glamorous, like upscale camping adventure. They're out in the middle of nowhere. No Wi-Fi, no cell reception, that sort of thing. So great setup already. And somebody goes missing. Thus the title, The Search Party. So you're going back and forth in time. You don't know who is missing. You don't know if they're okay, if it's a murder, if it's a missing, like an accident. You have no idea what the circumstances are. And you're reading up to this, like during the weekend, you're reading different perspectives leading up to it. And this weekend is a disaster. I mean, these friends, if you can call them that, like all these secrets are coming out. It's just a mess. And it was a really fun mess to read. I really enjoyed it. Really loved how this one wrapped up. I thought it was a strong ending, and yeah, I would recommend it. It was very high stakes, very much again like kind of an isolated setting, no Wi-Fi, forced to kind of fend for yourself with a lot of other people who are starting to kind of lose it. So it was very entertaining. I really enjoyed it. Okay, and then last but not least, The Widow by Kara Ruda. So I read this again for that reading vlog that I will link above, that I had read some cozy mysteries, just kind of a combination of things. I really liked this. So Kara Ruda, I've read 2 books from. I read Beneath the Surface, which I liked a bit more. I read that last fall, very much loved it. This one is interesting. So we have The Widow, and our main character is of course Jodie Asher. She is the widow to be, and we're reading from her perspective and her husband's perspective at the beginning, which is very thrilling. Very, you know, your heart's just pounding because you're like, okay, well, clearly the widow, she becomes a widow, right? So you know you're reading from the perspective of someone who's going to die somehow. And it's very, very heart-pounding because you're sitting there like, is she going to do it? Is someone else going to do it? What's happening? Because they are in a very politically charged situation because her husband is a politician. So very interesting setting. Not normally a career path I would want to read a lot about just because I find politics to be stressful. Like a lot of people, I kind of read for escapism, so it's not my favorite. So Jodie is like the perfect politician wife. She does the, you know, she does the sponsors, she does the events, she does the volunteer work, you know, all that stuff. So she's great. She's amazing at this. And her husband, Martin, is, you know, good at what he does. He's charismatic, and he's also sleeping with one of his staffers, and a young staffer at that, which obviously on multiple levels not good. Jodie, though, she's not upset about the affair. She's upset because she feels like he's undone all the work they've put into his career in the past like 15 years, because if this comes out, he's going to be like, you know, his career is probably going to be over, or he's going to have a hard time coming back from it. Well, before she can figure out what to do about it, he ends up dying, and things happen, and she's being threatened with secrets from the past, from like a journalist. It's very interesting, very fun. I like it. I feel like her writing is very bingeable. It's very easy to like just immerse yourself and like read through it quickly and really get like a lot of just thrill from it, which I love. So it's very fun, very entertaining. This one's not my favorite for the ending. I felt like it kind of left one of the characters we learned about. It didn't really fully flesh out their story as much as I wanted, but I did really appreciate her ending. I thought it was really good, and I did overall really enjoy this. It was fun, it was digestible, it was a good like binge-worthy read, I would say. I was reading this a day where I had like a really bad headache and I was getting sick, like I had a bit of a cold at the beginning of the month, and this was a really fun, immersive thriller, so I give it like a 3.5 to 4 stars. Really fun. I would recommend it if the concept sounds interesting enough. Okay guys, that is the end of my reading wrap up for January and February. Thanks for sticking with me through this long one. Please let me know, what did you read this month? Would you recommend it? Would you not? Have you read any of the books I talked about? What were your thoughts on them? I'd love to hear it, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I do post new mystery and thriller content every week on my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!